Okay, para sa Lecture 4, para sa course na Engineering Economics, yung topic natin ngayon ay yung time value of money. May nabanggit na tayo dito or tungkol dito dun sa last lecture natin, no? Dun sa Present Economy Studies, kung saan ina-analyze lang kung ano yung value ng money dun sa time ng analysis. Dito, titignan natin kung paano nagbabago yung value ng money with respect to time. So, di-discuss natin dito, introduce natin kung ano yung concept para dun sa lecture. Next ay yung cash flow diagram, simple interest, compound interest, tsaka yung nominal and effective interest rate. Subjective natin dito ay ma-explain kung ano yung time value of money, tsaka yung calculations na kasama doon. Kasama rin dito yung pagde-develop or paggagawa natin ng cash flow diagram, tsaka magsasolve din tayo ng problem tungkol sa simple, tsaka yung compound interest. Kasama na rin dun sa rate of interest. So first, introduce natin yung key concepts. The term capital refers to wealth in the form of money. So, na-discuss natin last time yung tinatawag nating capital investment. Pambili ng equipment, materials, para makapag-produce tayo ng isang project or makagawa tayo ng isang system or structure. Refers to wealth in the form of money or property that can be used to produce more wealth. The majority of engineering economy studies involve commitment of capital for extended periods of time. So, the effect of time must be considered. So kung yung last natin na discussion tungkol sa present economy studies, hindi kino-consider doon na yung capital mo ay mag-extend over periods of time. Hindi natin consider doon yung effect ng time. So dito, i-consider na natin yun. No? So kung titingnan natin na yung value ng pera natin ngayon is mas mataas kaysa doon sa value sa mga susunod pang panahon dahil yung pera natin ngayon pwedeng mag-earn yun or magkaroon ng tinatawag nating interest. Okay, money has a value, and if money remains uninvested, value is lost. Money changes in value not only because of interest rates or inflation or deflation, and currency exchange rates also cause money to change in value. Pwede rin magbago yung value ng money dahil dun sa inflation or deflation, tsaka yung exchange rates. So, i-discuss pa natin to sa latter part ng course natin. Okay, next ay yung interest. Interest is the amount of money earned by a given capital. From the borrower's viewpoint, interest is the amount of money paid for the use of a borrowed capital. From the lender's viewpoint, it is the income generated by the capital that was lent. Meron tayong tinitingnan dito kung naaalala niyo pa yung mga viewpoint, use consistent viewpoint sa principles ng engineering economy. So, titingnan natin kung anong viewpoint yung i-consider natin. So, kung borrower, yung interest yun yung babayaran niya dahil nga nanghiram siya ng capital. Kung lender naman, yun naman yung income na na-generate dahil nagpahiram siya ng capital. So first, interest and profit pay the providers of capital for foregoing the use during the time the capital is being used. So yung return of capital, pwedeng i-consider natin yun na incentive para dun sa lender dahil nagpahiram nga siya ng pera. Second, interest and profit or payments for the risk the investor takes in permitting another person or an organization to use his or her capital. So yung una, yung interest and profit, yun yung nagiging bayad dun sa paggamit ng capital ng lender. Second naman, pwede natin i-consider na yung interest at profit, pwedeng yun yung bayad sa risk ng isang investor para sa pag-permit niya or pagpayag niya dun sa isang tao para gamitin yung capital na yun. So in typical situation, yung investor pwede niyang sabihin kung ano yung expected return of capital, kung sufficient ba yun dun sa papasukan niyang project or venture. If capital is invested in a project, investor would expect as a minimum to receive a return at least equal to the amount they have sacrificed by not using it in some other available opportunity or comparable risk. So pwede nating sabihin na yung capital kapag ginamit siya sa engineering or pwedeng sa business projects, dapat i-consider natin, bigyan natin ng proper consideration yung time value niya. Next ay yung cash flow diagrams. Kapag na-encounter nyo na sa engineering mechanics, yung tinatawag nating free body diagram, parang ganito yun sa engineering economics. So cash flow diagram is simply a graphical representation of cash flow drawn on a time scale. Cash flow diagram from economic analysis problems is analogous to that of free body diagram for mechanics problem. So, nasisimplify niya kung ano yung problem para mas ma-interpret natin into visual. The use of cash flow or time diagrams or tables is strongly recommended for situations in which the analyst needs to clarify or visualize what is involved when flows of money occur at various times. In addition, viewpoint is an essential feature of cash flow diagrams. Kasi nga para ma-simplify natin, ma-clarify at ma-visualize, mas madali kasing mag-solve kung naaalala nyo sa engineering mechanics kapag naka-free body diagram. So dito rin sa engineering economics, mas madaling mag-solve ng problem kapag nilalagay natin yung CFD or yung cash flow diagrams. Sinabi rin dito na yung viewpoint is essential dahil sa cash flow diagrams, meron tayong upward arrow tsaka downward arrow. So titingnan natin kung anong viewpoint or makikita natin doon kung anong viewpoint yung kinonsider sa pagbuo ng cash flow diagram. So meron tayong conventions para sa paggawa ng cash flow diagram. First, the horizontal line is a time scale with progression of time moving from left to right. Period, pwedeng year, pwedeng by quarter, pwedeng by month, pwedeng by days are labels that can be applied to intervals of time rather than to points on the time scale. Meron tayo ditong cash flow diagram. So, check natin. Yung una, nakalagay dyan yung P. So, downward, so 17,000. And then yung may F na equal sa 17,690.27. So, given din tayo ng horizontal line, yun yung sinasabi nating time scale. So, nagpo-progress tayo from left to right. Meron din tayong label dyan na 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yun yung number of periods. So, naka-indicate din doon kung ano yung klaseng period. Nakalagay na end of month. So, ibig sabihin doon sa una, yung 0 to 1, yun yung interval for the first month. So, yung 0, yun yung beginning of month 1. Ibig sabihin, kung titingnan natin, kung sa viewpoint ng lender, sa beginning of month 1, negative yung flow, kaya nagpahiram siya doon ng 17,000. Then after 4 months sa end ng 4th month, so nagkaroon siya ng future work or yung payment para dun sa pinahiram niyang 17,000 na 17,690.27. So kapag yung first natin karaniwan sa cash flow diagram is negative, ibig sabihin yun yung sa lender or dun sa buyer na viewpoint or point of view. Next, the arrows signify cash flows and are placed at the end of the period. If a distinction needs to be made, downward arrows represent expenses or negative cash flows or cash outflows, and upward arrows represent receipts. So yun nga, dahil negative, so expenses or may pinahiram ka or bumili ka, so yun yung negative cash flow or outflow. And then upward arrow naman nagre-represent ng receipt. So may natanggap ka, yun naman yung positive cash flow or yung inflow. So sabi rin dito na yung cash flow diagram is dependent on the point of view. Okay, meron tayong sample problem. An electronic equipment costs 30,000 pesos. Maintenance cost is 3,000 pesos each year. The device will generate revenues of 15,000 pesos each year for 5 years, after which the salvage value is expected to be 12,000 pesos. Draw and simplify the cash flow diagram. So, una natin gawin ay yung time scale. So, meron tayong 5 years. So, nakalagay sa problem. So, lagay natin 0 as the beginning of the first year. Tapos yung 5, yun yung end ng 5th year. So, sabi dyan na electronic equipment cost 30,000. Maintenance cost, so 3,000. So, meron tayong mga downward arrows. So, nagsisignify yun na may expense na naganap. The device will generate revenues of 15,000 each year. So, for 5 years din, no? So, maintenance cost natin for 5 years. Tsaka yung revenue na 15,000 for each of the 5 years. Tapos yung last, salvage value is expected to be 12,000. So, yan yung cash flow diagram natin sa problem. Yan yung pag-interpret natin or yung pag-visualize natin dun sa problem, nilagay natin sa cash flow diagram. So, para ma-simplify naman yan, per period, pwedeng pagsamahin natin kung merong positive at saka negative na flow or yung meron tayong inflow at saka may outflow. So, simplify. First, yung first cost or yung equipment cost na 30,000. So, sa first year, end ng first year, dahil nagkaroon tayo ng revenue na 15,000, tapos may maintenance cost na 3,000. So, ang flow natin dito is inflow na 12,000. So, each year yon, no? Kung pag-a-add natin hanggang 4th year. Tapos yung last, so yung 12,000 sa 5th year, yung revenue minus yung cost, tapos meron pa tayong salvage value na 12,000. So, 12,000 plus 12,000 is equal to 24,000. So, yun yung simplified na cash flow diagram para dun sa problem. So recap tayo ng natutunan natin para sa first part ng Lecture 4, yung time value of money. So na-discuss natin dito yung mga concept or key concept para dun sa pag-analyze natin sa time value of money. Tapos kung ano yung capital, interest, ano rin yung cash flow diagram, yung mga convention para pag nakita kayo ng ibang cash flow diagram, so mas maiintindihan natin. Tsaka nakagawa rin tayo ng isang sample ng cash flow diagram.